Ever paid a bill late because you misplaced it? We'll spend all day organizing our closets, but when it comes to money, forget it. Stop the madness. Let's get it together financially. Organizing your money is easy when you have the tools to do it. Plus, you'll reduce frustration and give yourself the assurance that you're prepared for whatever life throws your way. Visit stcumoney.org to get 8 free tips on how to organize your money before you think about tackling those closets.
Spokane listens when business talks. Welcome to Business Talks, the region's only local business talk show with your host, Ryan McNeese. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Now, let's get down to business with Business Talks.
Welcome to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here in the studio with Chris Patati and Tom Sawyer of Tom Sawyer Country Coffee. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us, yeah.
Well, we've been trying to make this work. You guys have a busy schedule, and I appreciate you getting here.
Our pleasure.
And we were almost on time.
You were right on time. So what I like to do on Business Talks, I think what's interesting for me is always to understand, with an interesting business like this, how did you get here? What was the inception of this business? What was the idea, the light bulb to start this business?
Well, Ryan, it really started almost 67 years ago. 57.
57.
Who's counting when we're at 57?
It started almost 57 years ago, and then Tom Sawyer Country Coffee is the third business that my wife and I have had the privilege to start.
Okay.
And Chris Patati and I met here early on. He was branch manager at U.S. Bank. When I came from the west side, we opened up an account here, and I said, by the way, is your manager here? And Chris came up, and we just kind of hit it off right at the start.
You could tell there was a real connection about this business.
Actually, his wife had more trust in us than he had. She's been working for us for a little over 6 years, and Chris is pushing almost 3 now, But we're privileged to have both of them.
Well, and I met Chris, I think, the first time at your previous location out on the Latah Creek.
Hangman Valley.
Yeah, that was a gorgeous location as well, and now really exciting, the Kendall Yards location.
It's wonderful.
How's that working out for you to be really in kind of the center of what's going on in Spokane?
Oh, it's working out very well. Of course, I don't know if you are familiar with Greenstone Corporation and the Kendall Yards community, but they're so welcoming, and it's just been phenomenal to be there. The community there has really come around us and helped grown us. Gotten the word out. We're in the My Fresh Basket, which is the new grocery store in the neighborhood, and if you haven't been there, you really need to check it out.
And that's the one that's just being finished, correct?
It's complete.
Okay.
It's complete. It's at the end of the Monroe Street Bridge right there at Monroe and Summit Parkway.
Well, and I think with the kind of the branding, if you will, for Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the Kendall Yards area, I think, lends itself really well to the idea of that product. A lot of the market fresh, a lot of the farmers markets go on a regular basis down there. Do you participate in the markets as well?
Tonight at 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock tonight. Yeah, we have a little longer night tonight, but from 4 to 9 this evening.
And do you feel like you get a pretty good attendance in general, but folks that actually participate or engage with Tom Sawyer Country Coffee want to know more about what this is?
We serve about 6 gallons of cold brew coffee just alone, plus hot coffee. And we'll also have, if the listener's on, decaf tonight. He keeps asking us for decaf, and we keep forgetting to bring it. So tonight we're going to have decaf. Yeah,
well, I would imagine the cold brew will do well tonight, given that it's 95 out there.
People literally know we're going to be there, and they know we're going to be there with Chocolate Thunder, iced coffee toddy. Yeah.
Well, that one sounds interesting. Let's go back to that inception that you were talking about, that you started having conversations with Chris and his wife, yourself, your wife, in terms of differentiating yourself in the coffee market. What were some of the original ideas that you thought we could do this the same but better, or differently and better? What were some of the ideas as to why you thought Tom Sawyer Coffee could really find a place in the market?
Before you answer, I just want to mention that there were...
That sounds a little bit like a lawyer. Before you answer...
I'm guilty.
Yeah. I just want to mention that there are so many more roasters since the inception of Tom Sawyer Coffee in our region than there were at the time. But
well, I'd imagine that's a good point. I'd imagine that's similar to the wine business to a certain extent, that you look back at some of these wine brands that I like, the Robert Carls, the T3s, the Barristers, that when they...
the Spokane brands.
Yeah, exactly. When they got into this, though, you didn't have the huge Walla Walla influx, which is great. I mean, it's phenomenal. But so I understand what you're saying, that if you looked back at the picture you were looking at or the market you were looking at, potentially a different story at the time.
There's a couple of things that come to mind that really, really help our business. One of them is the years of experience. Again, this November will start 57 years for me in the industry. And then I've supported the same farms and families all the years that I've been in this business. We know where the good coffees are, and they send them to us.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because that's, I think, what I'm getting at is what differentiates yourself in having these relationships with the growers. I think folks are interested more today than ever as to where is the product coming from. Tell us more about that.
We never compromise on price, and we also buy direct through one broker down in the Bay Area that I've worked with all the years that I've been in this business. And when we work direct like that, that means that we're getting basically about twice the amount of money back into the farmer's hands. And that farmer, he appreciates that. And in turn, he's going to send us great coffees. And we just don't hedge when we look at coffee.
I think you're right. That's symbiotic.
$1 a pound. If I spend $1 more or $1 less, it only saves a half a cent a cup. Every single customer I see is worth a nickel or more.
Where is the product coming from specifically? South America, I'm guessing.
Well, close. Now, in inventory right now, we carry traditional coffees, and then we carry fair trade organics.
Okay.
We have coffees coming out of Africa. Now, this is in inventory as of today. So we'll have Kenya, Malawi, Tanzania peaberries, Ethiopian Yirgachefs, Ethiopian Sidamos, Ethiopian Harars. We drop down in the Indonesian islands. We pick up Sumatra. We pick up Timor. We pick up Java.
No kidding.
Bali, Blue Moon, fantastic
So
coffee.
the diversity of where that product's coming from clearly is all over the board. Is this similar to wine tasting in the sense that aficionados like yourself, that you could taste these different and know this is Java or...
This guy's palate
not only can you taste it, but you can see the difference just in the bean itself.
See, I'm actually fascinated by that.
Well, you got to come down, and we'll give you a good education down there.
I'm going to do it.
You know, any of the public that's listening, we just love to have people come on down. It's an open kitchen there, and you come on in, and if you look like you want to go to work, I'll put you to work. Or if you want to just stand and chew the fat, we'll do that.
I'll be a little careful then how long I linger.
Well, I got to get out of work a little bit.
That's right. Well, okay, so in terms of the product coming from all over, you have a broker that you trust. Does that broker, in a sense, is it a gatekeeper for the quality? That if something's coming to that broker, it's almost been cleared, if you will, that it's good quality from any number of these places that it's coming from?
The answer to that is yes, and when I order coffee through them, we never talk pricing. We talked just how that coffee had cupped and how well it's going to present itself once it gets up here.
Okay. How often do those shipments come in from
Well, come on down Friday. Chris has gone on vacation. I've got 10 bags coming in. They're 153 pounds apiece.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for the warning.
And then Monday and Tuesday, we got another 2 pallets coming in. So come on down.
To answer your question, Ryan, is each harvest is different. It's an agricultural product. So just like the wheat farmers here in the Palouse, you may produce a real good harvest one year, and the next year could be a completely different story. And so Tom has a pick of the different farmers that he works with, and our broker has done the cupping of those individual coffees. So Jose may have a wonderful cup of coffee in 2017, but we don't know what 2018
right,
looks
and
like
it might
until
be literally same hillside, same planting arrangements,
same
but
have
climate.
acre. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. That is very similar to the wine industry in that regard. Once the products that you have chosen and to your best efforts and experience over all the years have brought in via your broker, they get here. What has been Tom Sawyer's as a brand? What's been the marketing approach to reaching Spokane and beyond, or the goal, I should say?
It's been a word of mouth. This has been the third business that my wife and I have started, and of course, Chris and Angela have been just a tremendous asset in building that. And it's a relationship thing with everybody, not only just in the coffee and the farmers and the people that we work with, but then here in the neighborhood too. We support a lot of nonprofit groups, organizations, schools, churches, do a lot of fundraising. And a couple of years back, people would say, Tom Sawyer, who's that? Now they're really getting to know us, yeah.
Well, I think you're right. I think that brand awareness comes from many engagements, and quite frankly, I think for any business that wants to participate in their community, that's the fun part, is the ability to engage in the different organizations. Gleason Fest is coming up here in a couple of weeks. Big things for our community like that, but at the same time, it's clearly getting the word out that Tom Sawyer Country Coffee is here and here to stay.
We're here to stay. We always encourage people, if you've got a product that you really like, bring it on down, put it alongside ours, and we want you to go home with the one you like. We're not going to try to sell you anything. So far, we've never missed.
No, I bet not. I bet not. And what have you found from being out in the Latah area versus moving to Kendall Yards? What's probably the most substantial difference for the business?
Well, we have pretty much had a rope around our neck out in Hangman Valley out there. The county approved.
Named. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was
the
good.
county gave us permission. It was zoned for home industry, but they would never allow us to advertise it. It was kind of funny. They didn't care how many people found us. We just couldn't advertise it, and so it was.
And they were finding you.
And I really didn't argue with that, because when I first came over here, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be semi-retirement. I'm going to work maybe 2, maybe 3 days a week, go fishing and fooling around and enjoy the property. Too many people found us by word of mouth.
You know what, though?
And that's still continuing.
Isn't that the irony, though? You start a business for the right reason, but you thought, you know what, I'll just put my passion into this, but I'll have a little bit of anonymity out here and Hangman Valley, and then because of those ironies, I think you put the right variables into the business, and it's really kind of exploded.
And at Kendall Yards, when you come down, if you've never been there before, this is an open invitation now. I always kid people I'm not the only old thing in the shop. I've been collecting coffee memorabilia and all sorts of different things. That some of it dates actually back into the early 1800s. So it's like a museum, and people just come in and they go, oh, look at this, look at that, and they wander around for 10 minutes before they spend any money.
But you're really hitting a key point to me is, again, what's differentiating you. And let's take a short little break and come right back on Business Talks with Tom Sawyer Country Coffee. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Debt is a lot more common than most people realize. 20% of American households spend more than they make. It is also possible to break free of debt. No matter where you are, there are some habits you can develop to help you live debt-free. Pay down your existing debt as fast as possible. Pay with cash when you can. Stash cash for emergencies. Ask yourself if you really need to purchase something, and take some new tactics to earn more if you can. Learn more about living debt-free at stcumoney.org.
What is that you're holding? The Spokesman Review? Is it really even a factor in driving customer traffic anymore?
It sure is. Here, close your eyes and imagine a few people with $5 bills in their hands standing outside the door of your business.
Okay, I see them. I like it. People with money. What's your point? $5 isn't that much.
I know, but what if there were 300,000 people in front of your door with $5 bills in their hands?
Well, now you got my attention. That's $1.5 million. 300,000 people. Where'd they come from?
Yeah, that's how many different people read the Spokesman Review every week in print, online, or on their mobile.
Wow, that's impressive. impressive.
All you got to do is invite them in. Run some ads.
The Spokesman Review has 300,000 readers a week? That's amazing. I had no idea.
Most people don't. That's why we're running this ad. In print and online, the Spokesman Review delivers customers for your business.
A special thank you to our friends at Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the official coffee supplier here at Spokane Talks Online.
Welcome back to Business Talks. I'm Ryan McNeese, and we're here in the studio with Tom Sawyer Country Coffee. Right before we took a short break, we were talking about what differentiates any business, for that matter, but with Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, we were just chatting at the break that what struck me several years ago, I can't remember the publication, but for the first time, I was leafing through and I saw Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, and it struck me because you had indicated when you walk into your shop in Kendall Yards, you have all the memorabilia in the history. That's something to me that I think sets you apart, that there's more to the story. And would you agree that the story behind Tom Sawyer and what your passions are provide added value to Tom Sawyer Country Coffee?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. And we've got a wall that shows a wall of history of pictures and how things have started and progressed. Even with the original picture of the building that we're in right now, what it looked like.
What was it originally?
It was an eyesore.
So was that nice?
It was built in 1977, and we gutted the whole entire building, re-sheetrocked it, rewired it, replumbed it, built all the interior out, and then laid out our coffee shop inside, as well as a really nice patio on the outside. People really just enjoy, and we're kind of off the beaten path, which is okay.
Yeah,
because
but
you don't deal with tons of traffic going by.
You're in a great area, though, and you have I think the garage doors as well, right?
Oh yeah.
I think
glass front on
that's
there.
a great effect. I love that.
Tom's right, it was an eyesore, but a fun little tidbit is that it was a warehouse for little Cushmans that delivered ice cream.
Really?
And it was chock full of little ice cream carts in there, and we still have
those
the oil
were still
stains.
in there?
No, just the oil stains were left from the little ice cream carts.
So would someone see those when you walk in?
Oh,
still?
we did a very special job on the floor, and people come in and says, "Wow, you must have spent thousands of dollars antiquing this floor."
How did you make this look like faux old oil stains? Like
you have to come down and see, for yourself,
Because
that's what it looks like, And here it was, these old Cushman ice cream carts.
But I that's a true story. But I think it truly goes to kind of that sincerity or authenticity of a brand, and whether it's accounting, coffee, wine, legal, you name it, the construction trades. I think what folks more than ever, specifically the millennials, they're looking for authenticity in a brand. And I think oftentimes a business that's working too hard to create authenticity, I think that's actually probably the irony there, that it's not something it's got to be there from the beginning, from the inception. It sounds like that's what you guys have been doing.
Sure. One thing that Tom won't tell you is when he has quite a history. If we went through
please elaborate on that.
I have to be careful, but there are some international brand names that Tom has helped in their history. He's been part of their history, and we'll go to trade shows, and this guy can't walk 5 feet without people either whispering, "There's Tom Sawyer."
Is that Tom Sawyer?
You're right, and the other people will pull him aside. We were sitting down, resting our feet, the very last trade show we were at, and the brother of the founder of Seattle's Best Coffee
really
sat down and said, "Hey, we haven't seen you in a long time." Wanted to catch up, but those kinds of things happen all the time when you're outside of Spokane,
right,
with this fella.
Well, but I think that's an important piece, that it shows that the recognition, not only locally, the appreciation, the engagement, but externally around the country, around the world, there's a respect for what you have done and what you're creating now as a team. What do you feel like at the trade shows, and where was location-wise the last one you were talking about?
That one was in Seattle.
What do you feel like you gain at a trade show for this industry?
Well, still learned a lot of different things. My wife takes my credit card away, but Chris has got one because we find things together now and bring it back home. And Every once in a while, I say, what are you going to do with that? And that's a good question, hon, but I really don't know at this point.
Yeah, it seemed like a good
idea. We always
idea.
put them to work, yeah.
Yeah.
And, this November, honestly, I'll turn 75, and I've got companies that I've dealt with that actually in farms, I should say, there's some of those that I'm on the third generation with families. And a couple of them got a nickname, Old Gringo, up here, and I keep telling them, well, you send me the good coffee and you guys drink the bad stuff.
That's
you
right.
should save some for yourselves.
No kidding. And 3 generations later, I think that's definitely saying something in terms of that consistency, that type of track record, where our normal people are used to the standard business culture that there's more of a churn. Is this the best price? It doesn't matter what the relationship was. Well, that does matter. I think in the end, I think that longevity and those relationships to create better product and consistency, obviously it's what you have put a lot of energy into.
And we've supported a lot of U.S. businesses here too, and I know I'm among the top 5 or 6 of the older guys that have ever dealt business with some of them, yeah. So,
Where do you see, again, in terms of any business, you look at different business models, different scale, and so you take a product, whether it's a product or service, and you try to decide, do we want to do it at this scale, this size, we want it to look this way, a whole host of different ideas. This is probably an ever constant conversation. Where do you see Tom Sawyer today? Where do you see Tom Sawyer 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now? What's the goal?
Well, Chris and I are both caretakers. So
He'll get emotion all over this.
Good Lord will open the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As to what you see. And Chris, what do you think? Where do you want to see yourself going with this business?
Tom is such a visionary. He just forges out in front. I'm embarrassed to a point to say our growth over the in 2016 was absolutely phenomenal. And in my previous world in banking, I hadn't seen growth like that in numbers. So
that's saying something though, because in your experience, you would have been poring over P&Ls for lots of different businesses, different, again, services, products, et cetera. So
correct. Yes. And we're on track to do something similar this year. So Tom he's just always just pushing ahead. Unfortunately, sometimes the brakes get put on him, but
are those spouses?
It only slows down for just a
and then they're back on the gas again.
Back on the gas,
right?
When you are as busy as you are, and you're seeing financial numbers as you've described, are you able to maintain that classic work-life balance in terms of? I mean, when you're passionate about something, sometimes it's 24 hours a day. How do you do that?
Yeah, Tom says, I've never worked a day in my life. Just some days I go home more tired than others.
That's a great line. That's a great line. But I think there's a lot to be said for that, because clearly you both, in terms of the passion for Tom Sawyer Coffee, you embody that idea of you love what you're doing.
Well, I take on a role of responsibility, and right now, this is really, since we moved to Kendall Yards in the last 18 months, it's kind of like starting a new business.
Right.
And you got to give it your all. People that fail, they just don't do what they should be doing.
Right.
So we're going to be bringing on extra help here. Chris's youngest son is hopefully going to be able to join us here in the fall or at the beginning of the year, close to that.
You're probably going to try to get him on Friday for all those pallets you were talking about.
He's come down and helped in
Okay.
They sent me home, and then they put the coffee away. So those bags, big ones, weigh 153 pounds, and they look at me once in a while and say,
He still tosses them around.
I'll still throw them, yeah.
What does your day look like in terms of kind of segregating, kind of a division of labor, for lack of a better word, in terms of creating the product, getting the product out to your respective locations?
I'm going to interrupt for just a moment before he answers that, because you hit on kind of a combination answer here. So what does his day look like? He was in at 4 this morning.
Oh
no, Monday.
Okay, well, he's going to go home at. We won't let him go until about 10 o'clock tonight. So
because this will be the event.
It's a long day.
Yeah, this will be the event at Kendall Yards, though.
he just pours it all in. But go ahead. I'm sorry. So
well, no,
Ryan,
I think
finish your question.
No, I think that is the question: is how does that day look like? Whether Chris, are you out and about at different locations of folks that are buying product wholesale, or how does that work?
Yes, quite often. So we do provide our customers, along with our retail customers that come visit our coffee shop. We have a large a portion of our business is a wholesale, where we provide coffee for other coffee users,
Right.
cafes, restaurants.
Well, I got to tell you, one of my
drive-thrus.
all-time favorites that, Chris, I'd actually see you there quite a bit is Cup of Joe's out in the Valley on
Right.
University. I tell you what, love
It's a shame we
Kathy and
lost
Joe
Cup
and
of Joe's.
Andrea to death. They're wonderful, wonderful people.
When we say we lost them, they just gave up the lease. It was too expensive.
Yeah, but lost the ability to go in there every day. And
Yeah,
believe me, I went
yeah,
in there every
yeah.
day. So just look at my credit card. So no,
Thanks, Dave.
but there's an example though where you were going out to great partners of yours, restaurants, and they're also promoting your products as well.
Yes.
So
And our customers have really great success. We've had some of them 25, 30% increase in business.
yeah,
Just with our coffee, our recipes, and our help.
well, it's the brand.
So
it's
there's
the product.
added value to everything that we do here in the community. So it means if they're increasing in those numbers, they're hiring more people. We're up to 9 people. Some are part-time, but our business is growing, and it's all right here in Spokane.
Well, as a plug for Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, tell our folks, our listeners, how they can find you, some events coming up. I know we have the event tonight. Tell us what's the best way to have folks find you, whether it's online or otherwise.
Sure, we're at 608 North Maple Street, and we're on the north side of the Kendall Yards development there. Our phone number is 509 818 3355. Had to make sure I wasn't giving you my home phone number.
Please call.
I'll give it in a minute. Yeah.
Only for complaints.
So it's 818-3355, and then www.tomsawyercountrycoffee.com, and we're on Facebook and Instagram. We see Ryan on
Perfect.
both of those
Perfect.
social media outlets.
And we work with Creme News in the morning show.
Perfect.
And they do a fantastic job for us, just like your spot here always helps. And then Spokane Radio Group has been a big supporter of ours over the years.
Well,
And then our motto, you mentioned call Chris for complaints.
Yeah.
Our motto is no grounds for complaint.
Right. Well, we wouldn't think there would be. That's why we didn't need to give out his home number. Thank you both very much. It's exciting to see a business that has this much passion and has this much potential. Thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it. Business Talks. We'll see you next time.
Business Talks is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. Ask a question, recommend a guest, and hear this program again online anytime at SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Business Talks is brought to you by our friends at STCU and Well Dressed Walrus. Business Talks wishes you good business and a good day.
If you're like many shoppers, you love to find a deal online. Or you shop online because it's so convenient. And you probably know thieves love to go online too, to try to steal shoppers' credit card information. When you're shopping online, you can start protecting your credit card information by investigating the website you're shopping on. Make sure the online retailer lists a real phone number and a physical address. Read the site's privacy policy and search for reviews and ratings of the retailer. You can read more about safe shopping online at STCU's financial education blog. Go to stcumoney.org.
Hi, this is Kurt Stockwell with Well Dressed Walrus. We are a local website design and development company here in Spokane. What we do is build beautiful, usable websites for local businesses. A website needs to be beautiful, it needs to be usable for your users, your customers, and yourself. Contact us anytime. We'd love to talk with you about your online marketing.
A special thank you to our friends at Tom Sawyer Country Coffee, the official coffee supplier here at Spokane Talks Online.